Chosen one. Have you ever wondered why you were kept single while others rushed into relationships that seemed so perfect? Why doors that looked promising suddenly closed? Why what you thought was love slipped through your fingers? This was not rejection. This was divine protection. Heaven was shielding you from what you could not see, because not every connection is covenant. Not every embrace is safe. Not every I love you is rooted in truth. The Lord says in Isaiah 55:8, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways." You thought you were being overlooked, but in reality, you were being hidden, shielded from hearts that were not aligned with yours, protected from battles that were not yours to fight, preserved for a purpose that requires purity, clarity, and strength. Think of Israel in the wilderness. They were delayed, but they were not denied. God did not lead them on the shortest path, for he knew they were not ready for war. So he took them the long way to protect them. So it has been with you. Your solitude was not punishment. It was preservation. And here is the mystery. By the end of this message, you will see why God kept you single. You will understand the dangers you were shielded from, the identity that was built in the fire, the timing of heaven that has been aligning in your favor, and the unseen battles you escaped. And the final revelation will not only explain your past, but also confirm that your awakening is near. Chosen one, do not look away, because what you are about to hear will change the way you see every closed door. If this word already touches your spirit, pause for a moment. Like this message, subscribe to this channel, and comment 777 as a prophetic act, declaring, "I receive clarity for my season." Now, let us begin. There are seasons when heaven feels silent and your heart aches with questions. Why am I still alone? Why did every relationship end before it began? Why does love feel delayed for me while others move forward? The truth is, you were not abandoned. You were hidden in the wilderness of singleness, because God saw what you could not. He saw the snares set before you, the traps behind smiles, the battles that would have destroyed you if you had walked into them unprepared. Sometimes protection feels like loneliness. Sometimes God's hand feels like rejection. But it is not rejection, it is preservation. It is His way of keeping you whole when the wrong embrace would have broken you into pieces. Think of Israel in the desert. They wandered, not because they were forgotten, but because they were being prepared. The wilderness was their shield. It kept them from nations that would have crushed them before they were strong enough to stand. In the same way, your solitude has been a shield. Heaven's way of keeping you from what would have devoured your spirit. You thought you were missing out, but you were being spared. That sudden breakup that left you questioning your worth. It was mercy in disguise. That relationship that collapsed without reason. It was heaven cutting ties you couldn't see. Because not every hand that reaches for you is sent by God. And not every connection is covenant. The wilderness of singleness has been the ground of your protection. It was the secret place where heaven guarded your heart. Even when you cried yourself to sleep asking why, heaven's silence answered, "Because you are chosen, and you cannot afford to settle." Have you noticed how some people you once longed for no longer appeal to you? It is because time revealed what your spirit already knew. They were not for you. The wilderness purified your vision. It stripped illusions. It taught you to see with your spirit, not just your eyes. This is why your path looked different. Others rushed from relationship to relationship. They seemed fulfilled, but many are now scarred or chained to covenants that drain the soul. You were spared from that cycle. Yes, you were lonely. Yes, you questioned yourself. But while they were wounded, you were preserved. This wilderness built something in you nothing else could. It built resilience. It built discernment. It built strength to stand alone rather than compromise with what is unholy. But the wilderness is temporary. Its purpose is not endless isolation, but protection until preparation is complete. God never intended you to wander forever. He intended you to arrive stronger, clearer, and unshakable in identity. So if you are in that season now, where singleness feels like exile and loneliness feels heavy, take heart. It is not exile. It is sanctuary. The holy ground where heaven shields you until you are ready for the next step. But protection was only the first reason. There is more. Because singleness was not just about shielding you from others. It was also about shaping you within. And that shaping, that refining fire, is what we must uncover next. There comes a point when solitude is no longer only about protection. It becomes formation. A fire that refines identity, strips illusions, and forces you to face the version of yourself you once avoided. This is why many of your prayers for companionship felt unanswered. Heaven was not cruel, it was intentional. Because if you had entered union too soon, you would have lost yourself in someone else's shadow. Your identity would have been swallowed before it could take root. Think about it. How many times did you silence your voice just to keep peace? How many times did you shrink your dreams so someone else could feel secure? How often did you abandon your calling just to avoid being left behind? That cycle had to break, and it could only break in the fire of solitude. The refining fire is not gentle. It burns away false versions of you, the people pleaser, the chameleon, the seeker of validation. It strips the masks you wore to be loved. It exposes wounds you tried to hide with affection, and it demands that you stand raw and unpolished until you remember who you are. Painful? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely. Because the truth is this: if you do not know who you are before union, you will lose yourself inside it. If you do not have boundaries before the relationship, you will have none when it begins. If you do not walk whole, you will enter limping, expecting someone else to complete you, and that weight is too heavy for any soul to carry. This is why heaven insisted on your singleness. It was never punishment, it was refinement, the sacred fire where your true identity was forged. During these years, gifts and passions you never knew began to rise. You discovered skills, you uncovered creativity, you birthed vision. That is the fruit of refinement. The fire removed what was shallow, so depth could be born. The silence exposed what noise had hidden, so clarity could speak. And here's the paradox. While you thought you were losing time, you were saving it. Because without refinement, years could be wasted in wrong alignments and draining partnerships. But with refinement, the years ahead are multiplied in impact. It is why the goldsmith does not rush the process. The heat must reach the right intensity to separate gold from impurity. If pulled out too soon, the gold is not pure. If left long enough, the reflection of the smith appears in the metal. So it has been with you. Heaven waited until his reflection could be seen in you. Chosen one, your singleness has been the furnace where strength was built, confidence rebuilt, and purpose made unshakable. You no longer settle for crumbs because you know you carry the bread of life within. You no longer beg for love because you discovered you are already loved by the one who formed you. This is why the refining fire matters, because when the right person comes, aligned, prepared, sent by heaven, you will not cling from fear. You will not lose yourself to keep them. You will stand whole, ready to give, not desperate to receive. And that is the difference between covenant and captivity. So if the fire has felt hot, if everything unnecessary has been stripped away, if you feel rebuilt from the ground up, rejoice. It means you passed through refinement. It means heaven has finished what it began. And the one emerging from this fire is not the same as the one who entered. But refinement was not the only reason, because beyond protection and identity lies another layer, the mystery of timing. And timing, divine timing, is what we must uncover next. There is a mystery about heaven's timing that frustrates the impatient, but comforts the awakened. God's delays are not denials, they are alignments. Every closed door in your singleness was not rejection. It was heaven waiting for the appointed time. Timing is one of the hardest truths to embrace because you watch others marry, build families, post their moments, and you ask, "What about me?" You wonder if you've been overlooked or forgotten, but heaven whispers, "You are not late. You are right on schedule." Think of the seed in the soil. It looks lifeless to those passing by, but beneath the surface, roots stretch, foundations strengthen, life forms in silence. And when the season comes, the seed does not just sprout, it flourishes. So it is with you. Your singleness has been hidden soil, preparing you for sudden bloom when the timing aligns. Understand this: heaven never rushes destiny. Union is not only about romance, it is about assignment. And God will not send you into covenant until your assignment and your partner's assignment align. If it comes too soon, it collapses. If too late, it decays. But in the fullness of time, it is unstoppable. This is why your waiting felt long. Not because you were unworthy of love, but because heaven was weaving threads you could not see. The right person wasn't ready, or perhaps you weren't. But when both are refined and aligned, heaven declares, "Now." And when that moment arrives, it won't feel forced. It won't require begging or compromise. It will flow with peace, confirmation, and ease. Because what is divine never diminishes you. It multiplies who you are. This is the beauty of timing. While you questioned delays, heaven secured permanence. While you envied others' quick paths, heaven was building foundation for yours. While you thought nothing was happening, everything was happening behind the veil. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." Not in your time, but in its time, the set time. And when that moment comes, what once felt broken will make sense. Every tear will feel worth it. Every no will turn into a thank you in hindsight. Waiting sharpened your discernment. You now know the difference between distraction and destiny. You can sense when something is sent to delay you versus when it is sent to elevate you. This is why heaven waited, so that when the right person arrives, you will recognize them without confusion. Chosen one, your delay was not wasted. It was training. It was alignment. It was heaven preparing you for covenant in the fullness of time. But there is still one more mystery, because even when timing is perfect, another reason remained. A hidden battle you never saw, the protection of your spirit. And that is what we must uncover next. There are battles you never saw, yet you lived through them. Storms you never felt because heaven blocked the winds before they reached you. Dangers you never touched, because God's hand pulled you out before the snare could close. Your singleness was not only about timing or refinement, it was about shielding you from spiritual entanglements that could have destroyed your destiny. Not every union is holy. Not every soulmate is sent by God. Some relationships look beautiful on the surface but carry hidden chains. To be tied to the wrong person is not just inconvenience. It is covenant with warfare you were never meant to fight. Some of the people you cried over were not your loss. They were your escape. The ones who rejected you were instruments of mercy. Because had you stayed, their battles would have become yours. Their demons would have invaded your home. Their brokenness would have swallowed your identity. This is why certain doors slammed shut. Why betrayals cut so deep. Why people you thought were the one vanished without explanation. It wasn't chaos. It was deliverance. It was heaven breaking chains before they ever bound you. Think of Samson. He was chosen, powerful, anointed. Yet his covenant with Delilah cost him strength, vision, and freedom. Had God not intervened in your story, you too might have been tied to your own Delilah, someone who drained your purpose. But heaven kept you single, not to punish you but to preserve you. The enemy knows the power of covenant. If two align in truth, their impact multiplies. So he sends counterfeits, distractions dressed as destiny, chains disguised as love. And yet, heaven was ahead of him. Every counterfeit you almost fell for was exposed. Every entanglement that almost trapped you was cut. Every battle that almost reached you was blocked. Have you ever thanked God for the prayers he didn't answer, for the relationships he didn't allow, for the people he removed before they destroyed you? This is the protection you didn't see. Chosen one. Your singleness was not emptiness. It was deliverance. It was the battlefield where heaven fought for you in silence. While you wept, angels warred. While you questioned, God defended. While you thought you were abandoned, you were actually surrounded by fire. And now you stand here, not chained, not broken, but preserved. Yes, there are scars. Yes, there were tears, but you are still standing. And more than that, you are ready. Because now you understand. Every denial was protection. Every delay was preservation. Every lonely night was evidence that heaven was fighting for you in ways unseen. And this leads to the final revelation, the ultimate reason God kept you single until now. Not only about who left or what never happened, but about what is about to unfold. Because your singleness was never the end of your story. It was prophecy of your awakening. And in the next part, we will tie it all together: protection, refinement, timing, and spiritual battle, all pointing to one truth. You were never forgotten. You were hidden, preserved, and prepared. The question remains, why did God go to such lengths to protect you? Why fight battles you never saw? Why guard your heart so fiercely when you thought you were forgotten? Because your story is prophetic. Your awakening carries weight beyond yourself. And your union, the one preserved for you, will be more than love. It will be legacy. Chosen one, heaven shielded you because your next season is not ordinary. It is the birthing of destiny, the unfolding of calling. And the person aligned with you will not just share life, they will share mission. The protection is proof you are marked. Look back. If you had been tied to the wrong one, your fire would have dimmed, your vision blurred, your purpose delayed. But because you were hidden, nothing was lost. Your spirit is still sharp, your fire still alive, your destiny intact. This is why heaven kept you single. Because the one preserved for you is not a distraction, but a partner in destiny. They will not pull you away from God. They will push you deeper into Him. They will not chain your purpose. They will multiply it. And when the two of you align, darkness will tremble. This is why the battle was fierce, why delays felt unbearable, why loneliness cut so deep. Because the enemy knew if you endured the waiting, survived the refining, reached alignment, nothing could stop you. And here you are, standing at the edge of awakening. The very fact you are still here is the evidence. The protection itself is the prophecy. The closed doors were not detours. They were road signs, pointing here, to this moment, to this season. Isaiah 60:22 says, "When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen." Chosen one, the time is near. Your waiting was not wasted. Your singleness was not empty. It was the cocoon before the flight, the silence before the song, the shield before the unveiling. And now heaven whispers one truth. Your awakening is not someday. It is beginning now. But to grasp this fully, we must close the circle. We must tie together the wilderness, the refining fire, the timing, the unseen battles, and this revelation. Because the conclusion of this journey is not just understanding, it is transformation. Chosen one, now you see the full picture. The wilderness was not rejection, it was your shield. The refining fire was not punishment, it was your transformation. The waiting was not delay, it was alignment. The battles you didn't see were not accidents, they were heaven's defense. And the protection itself, it was prophecy that your awakening is near. Every stage of your singleness carried a message. The silence that broke you also strengthened you. The tears that stained your pillow also watered your future. The no's that crushed your heart redirected your destiny. And now the evidence is undeniable. You were never forgotten. You were guarded. You were hidden. You were preserved for this very moment. What others saw as delay was God's design. What felt like loss was heaven's gain. What seemed like emptiness has become the foundation of fullness. Take this truth into your spirit. You were not waiting in vain. You were being prepared for a covenant that is not ordinary, one that will multiply your calling, expand your territory, and confirm your awakening. Jeremiah 29:11 declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." That verse is your blueprint. It is why doors closed. It is why delays came. It is why unseen protection covered you all along. So lift your head. Your loneliness was never abandonment. It was prophecy. Your silence was never wasted. It was alignment. And your singleness was never emptiness. It was the womb of your awakening. Now declare this with me, Lord. I thank you for the wilderness that protected me. I thank you for the fire that refined me. I thank you for the timing that aligned me. I thank you for the battles I never saw yet survived. I declare I am chosen, preserved, and prepared. My awakening is not far away. It is here, and I will walk in it with boldness and faith. If this word spoke to your spirit, seal it now. Like this message, subscribe to this channel, and comment "Awakening" below, not as routine, but as a prophetic act of faith, declaring, I see it now, I receive it now, my time has come. Chosen one, you were never overlooked. You were hidden for purpose, and now, heaven is revealing you.